Have you ever just looked up at the sky and thought about the thousands, and I mean thousands, of satellites orbiting over our heads? Well, the way they operate is about to get a massive overhaul, and it's going to completely change the internet as we know it. You see, right now, our satellites are incredible pieces of technology. We've got them for communication, for navigation like GPS, for watching our planet. But, and this is a big but, they're basically lone wolves. Each one operates in its own separate system, completely walled off in its own information silo. But what if we could change all that? What if those isolated satellites could finally link up, start cooperating, and act like a single massive intelligent unit? A swarm working in perfect harmony to create a giant brain in the sky? Okay, let's really get into this. To really get where we're going, we first have to understand the problems we have today. And this is what researchers have dubbed the satellite silo problem. I mean, think about it. The satellites that handle our communications don't talk to the satellites that track the weather. Down here on Earth, different organizations are all building their own super expensive ground stations, which means sharing data is a huge pain. And a single giant satellite, well, that's a single point of failure. If it gets disrupted, that's it. The service is down. And maybe the biggest issue is that this old, isolated model just can't keep up with the insane data demands of a future powered by things like 6G. And this quote from the source research really just hits the nail on the head. Our current approach, with all its silos and limitations, is really struggling to keep pace. The demand for smart global services is just exploding. And the old way, well, it wasn't built for this. So what's the solution? It's time to assemble a kind of space super team. This new architecture has a name: the Distributed Satellite Information Network, or DSIN for short. So what is DSIN at its core? It's all about tearing down those silos we talked about. It's a whole new framework designed to connect all these different satellite systems into one unified, open, and incredibly tough network. The end goal is to create a real information superhighway in space. And the main concept here is a huge shift in thinking. Instead of having a few gigantic, ridiculously expensive satellites, DSIN is all about using swarms of smaller, specialized ones. The cool part is they work together so perfectly that they basically act like one giant, adaptable virtual satellite. Okay, so how in the world do you build a virtual satellite? Well, it really boils down to three major upgrades to the architecture. First, you gotta upgrade the hardware. Satellites need to go from being simple mirrors that just bounce signals around to having what are called regenerative payloads. That just means they need their own onboard brains to actually process information. Second, you install the software that links all these new brains together, turning them into a massive distributed data center that's flying through space. And third, you lay down the rules of engagement. These are the flight formations that let all the satellites coordinate their actions perfectly. Now this is where it gets really, really cool. These formations aren't fixed. The swarm can literally change its shape on the fly to adapt to whatever the mission needs, arranging itself into specific patterns for specific tasks. Let me show you a few examples. Okay, so for instance, the satellites could get together and form a wheel formation. This shape is absolutely perfect for providing 360-degree coverage, maybe for continuous surveillance of an area or acting as a really powerful communications hub. Or you know what, maybe they need to shift into a line formation. This would be ideal for any job that requires scanning along a set path, like mapping a coastline in real time or tracking a specific target as it moves across the ground. And for those times when you just need maximum coverage, they can form a grid. This essentially creates this huge intelligent net that's cast over a massive chunk of the Earth, making sure that not a single spot is missed. So obviously, making these incredible swarms a reality is going to take some seriously advanced tech. So let's open up the toolbox and take a peek at a few of the key technologies that make all this possible. First off, how devices actually connect to this network. The old way, which is called grant-based access, is kind of like raising your hand in a classroom. You have to wait to be called on before you can speak. It's slow. The new way, grant-free access, lets a device just start transmitting whenever it wants. No permission needed. It's so much faster, and it's absolutely essential if you want to connect billions of Internet of Things devices all at the same time. Next up, the language the satellites speak. The current waveform we use, OFDM, is great for our phones on the ground, but for a satellite that's zipping over your head at thousands of miles an hour, OFDM kind of falls apart. Think about how an ambulance siren changes pitch as it flies by you. That's the Doppler effect, and it really messes with radio signals at those kinds of speeds. This new OTFS waveform, however, is built specifically to handle those distortions, making it perfect for these fast-moving satellites.
And this brings us right back to that core idea of the swarm. Instead of having one massive clunky antenna on a single satellite, you use a whole bunch of small antennas spread out across multiple satellites in the swarm. When they all work together in perfect sync, they create a giant virtual antenna that is way more powerful, way more precise, and a whole lot more resilient than any single dish could ever hope to be.
So, what does this all mean when you put it together? When you combine all these amazing technologies, what you get is a network that's capable of connecting the entire planet in ways we frankly only ever dreamed of. And this is the real payoff. We are talking about a future with seamless global 6G. A future with a massive Internet of Things that connects everything from cargo ships in the middle of the ocean to remote sensors in the rainforest. It's a future where your regular phone can talk directly to a satellite, and it's all powered by this incredibly resilient network in space that can see, communicate, and even think, all as one integrated system. Look, the era of lonely, isolated satellites is coming to an end. The age of the satellite swarm is just beginning. This technology promises to build a network that truly, and I mean truly, covers every single inch of our world. And the only question left to ask is, are we ready for what that actually means?